Welcome to another episode of Data Journeys. I'm Bruno, and this is the place we come to learn from leaders. Today, we're going to talk to Louis from Accenture. Louis, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Bruno.
All right, well, we think about Accenture as a partner, but today we're going to talk about Accenture's internal deployment on a data platform that's yielded 6 times faster in executing high volume queries. We're talking about 300% increase in clients supported with the same cost and 90% reduction in incidents. So obviously a lot of great success you can share with us today. But first, tell us, what does Accenture do?
Well, Accenture is a global professional service company. And today we have like 675K people around the globe. And our people is working in more than 7K plus clients in 50 different countries. And I'm telling you this not because I'm trying to do some marketing, but imagine all the information that we have around that, all the information that we generate when we're running our businesses. So every area of Accenture is today generating some kind of data and relaying all the decisions that we have in data, because we're truly a data-driven company. So if you think about Accenture in this perspective, right, you can understand that our data challenges are massive. Imagine all the information that we generate every single day over the years. And that amazing amount of information, we're using that to empower our teams and leaders to make real data-driven decisions. And my team has the opportunity to be in the middle of that challenge. The data platform that you're talking about is the forefront of innovation of the analytics that we're doing internally at Accenture. And we're responsible for putting all this data and all these analytics in the hands of Accenture people for kind of business insights and actions. So we're responsible for providing our people the architecture, the infrastructure, services, all the stuff that is really enabling Accenture to serve ourselves and to serve better to our clients.
That's outstanding. And you do have a lot of projects, over 260 projects, 60 plus data science projects, and 75 predictive models that you've built, and the numbers are growing. All of that as BigQuery as the center of the universe for your platform. So take us through some of the use cases that you've deployed at the company.
Yeah, we have great examples. One I really like is Alice. It's probably the first project that we did when we start working with you guys. Alice is a great collaboration example between our IT global team and our legal team. Accenture houses 1 million contracts in its record systems, and we're adding thousands of new contracts. So in our contracts with the clients, our attorney, they need to understand Accenture rights and obligations across all the different contracts. Alice, that it is Accenture Legal Intelligent Contract Exploration, that is the name of the tool. It's using the natural language processing and artificial intelligence to translate all these contracts from all the different languages that we have across all these countries into English. And we then are applying analytics on top of that, so we extract useful metadata from all this information. To give you some numbers, last January, we have processed over 20K documents. Alice is using the Translate API from you guys to move documents from Japanese, Italian, Spanish, or German with very, very high accuracy into English. On top of that, we are analyzing the content to generate useful metadata. So we're making all that information more accessible than ever. So our legal employees, it's over 2,800 professionals. They're working globally. They're able to deliver faster because we're unleashing the data that was previously not easily accessible for these guys. So we're enabling them all the knowledge in the moment that really matters. To give you an example, Alice was supporting our legal leaders to quickly evaluate the COVID-19 impact on all the existing contracts that we had at that point in time.
So that's a great example. Alice, Accenture Legal Intelligent Contract Exploration, over 1 million contracts, almost 3,000 professionals globally get value from the integration with the translation API. That's really an amazing project. What else are you doing today?
So we have other good examples of what we're using, in this case, BigQuery, right? This Manage My Business. Manage My Business is a self-service analytic dashboard that is enabling Accenture business units and client accounts with real-time, easy and secure access to vital information that we're using to manage all the business performance internally. The application is using BigQuery to blend cross-data information that used to be in silos, and we're using now BigQuery to manage all that stuff in one place. So with these multiple sources, we applied artificial intelligence on top to provide a very interactive experience that it is allowing our business leads to analyze performance indicators, connecting to different sources so they can diagnostic and drill down really in the things and the data that we have around our business.
Now, you also do a lot of data science work, particularly around anomaly detection with your data. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, well, probably one capability that we excel is the anomaly detection. Our data scientists, they have really expertise on using analytics to automate the detection of anomalies and outlying behaviors such as non-compliant business expenses or clauses in contracts or procurement or IT activities. So the volume of information that we have about expenses is over 25 million lines annually. So, and this number is growing because Accenture is growing. So every report gets analyzed and by business rule that they're trying to check if the expense is compliance or no. So the challenge here was how can we reduce the amount of false positives and all the anomalies that we have, but also improve the audit efficiency, reducing the time. So we have every focus, the big focus only on the questionable claims. So we decided to develop an anomaly detection solution for Accenture expense reporting system to augment our existing rule-based analytics. So the objective was to help address the high volume of expenses reports that they were triggering false positives. So our data scientists, in collaboration with our time and expense organization, they took the situation as an opportunity to improve Accenture current rule-based system, and we created an AI solution that it is super accurate and it is identifying non-compliant expenses and reducing false positives.
So we're obviously not going to have time to cover all 260 projects, although I would love to know every single one of them. But you're doing some great work on data mesh and data fabric. Can you tell us what that's about?
Accenture is a multi-cloud company that has operational and transactional data hosted in different cloud vendors. Our data is produced by application teams on the upstreams of the data lake. And then we have different flavors of data that is produced at different speeds scattered across different cloud providers. Our business data platform is right in the middle of all this data. And we're now improving the way we're connecting all this collection of data in a cohesive and self-service manner. We have a very advanced vision about data fabric we're building. So there's one unique and unified management of data integration where we all can consume data coming from all these sources. All our data will be connected data fabric, optimizing all the integration that we have across systems and improving all the data extraction that we have from the sources. On the other hand, we've seen that we would like to explore the data mesh pattern because, especially for data exploration, where data scientists are interested in understanding if this information is interesting for us, should be available in the data lake, should be production ready, right? We need a flexible way to make this data available for data sources, data available for data scientists before it is really moved into production into the fabric. So with Google, with you guys, we're actively collaborating with BigQuery Omni and Databricks product teams because we would like to understand what is the art of the possible and if these services may help us in a future implementation of this multi-cloud data mesh pattern that we're looking for.
That's outstanding. And you've got some really great work to look forward to. Now, you've been in this space for a long time and you've learned a lot along the way. So we always like to ask best practices and worst practices. So I'm going to start with the positive part of the equation. What are some of the top best practices that you've witnessed and that you would advise people listening to us to follow?
Yeah, well, the first practice that probably is a lessons learned to me is know your customer. When we kicked off analytics in 2014, it was all about a bunch of technologists doing technology. And we thought that data analytics was about high tech, big volumes of data, and complex libraries with weird names. And we were completely wrong. Data analytics is about skill diversity and culture, and it is not about technology. When you have to go for innovation and creativity, that it is required to bring in analytics to your organization, you need really a cultural mix where you bring business experts, data scientists, and technologists in the same room. You cannot deliver value to the org if you don't understand that this is required to feed your customer needs. So know your customer is probably the foundation of delivery value in analytics. And bringing this multicultural delivery cells where business and technology are working together is probably a very consistent way where you can deliver data analytics in the organization and really make it successful.
And we always forget about that because we think about it as a logical problem, but there's a huge human equation in succeeding with analytics.
Yeah.
What else did you observe?
Well, I was going to say the second one is probably fail early, fail safe. And I'm a giant believer, and we deliver always via Scrum. So this is This is probably one of the first things that we applied on top of what we're doing. No? So innovation lives and dies with the ability to learn quickly, and you may fail in your learning, so you need to measure your experimentation. So we, as an agile organization, we truly believe that the fail early, fail safe concepts is great when you're running experiments. And analytics is all about experimentation. During our processes, especially when we're doing the inception phase, that is the very beginning of the project, right? We track and we measure everything, if it is a success or if it is a failure. But that is giving us meaningful instrumentation so we can change ourselves and improve using really real information that is coming from our POVs, POCs, and our experts. So with this approach, the experiments are feeding back our infrastructure, are feeding back how we deliver things on top of the platform, that it is making us cheaper, faster, and more agile than ever.
That's outstanding. What about agility? So what is your take on that?
Well, and agility is probably the third one. We've learned that data scientists and analytics and everything around this new world is about provide the right tools at the right moment, right? The case, for example, that I was talking before with Alice, right? The ability to have all these documents at the right time when we were suffering COVID globally, right? It was huge for us. So we decided to move our platform into the cloud because we're now running the data platform as a utility. The data can be offered as a product and can be consumed as a service. So data analytics in the platform today offers a very simplified model where team can self-service capabilities. They have full control over all the resources that they're running, and that is leading us to a better model where everybody go in the pay as you go. So when we really need the infrastructure, when we really need the services, we have the agility to deploy everything. We have the agility to give that access, that real access to our analysts to the information. And then when we need to close all that stuff, we delete and destroy. That is giving a lot of flexibility plus a lot of cost savings because we're really using the infrastructure when we really need it.
That's outstanding. So now we've talked about the positive part of the equation, and we like to know about the negative part, the lessons learned along the way, things that might make sense when you get started, but in retrospect, there might be mistakes that people can avoid. So what have you seen?
Well, the first one sounds weird, but it is a lesson learned is too much data is a problem. It took us a little time to understand that it is not a problem of data volume when we're doing analytics. It is about collecting meaningful data that really makes sense for your business cases. One of our early principles of the data lake was store everything. And we did it. Our ability to collect data now is bigger than the ability that we have to support, to filter, to manage the data. So sometimes I feel we're on the top of a big amount of data that it is hard to mine and to understand. So big data, it is true that it is about big volumes of data, but it is about big useful volumes of data, right? So now that we're switching into this is a smart place where with the business, with us, right? We have our data scientists and our data experts really shaping what is the data that we have in the platform that it is fully focused to resolve our business problems.
Got you. So this is really not so much about the volume itself, but when you have a data problem or a data opportunity, it's about storing it, but also coupling it with a smart platform so you can use artificial intelligence and the power of data science to zero in on the data that is most useful to your people. What about other mistakes that you've seen other folks make in the space?
The second one, and I am a geek, so my heart is always in the architecture side of the world. But I now I understand that sometimes this tech hype is a mistake because architects and data scientists, especially these roles, right? At least in our org, is we are always looking for the next shiny toy, right? New technologies, new libraries, new algorithms are something that really excite all of us. So when we start building an offering using this tech hype without thinking through what we already are using and what is really available in the organization, sometimes we bring new technologies that requires new operations on top of that and requires new effort to make it available to the end user. So we've learned to be patient and look further ahead in the future. And now we have a formal process to onboard new technology that it is supervised by a committee of architects, security guys, data persons, and other groups of experts that when we really want to put the focus on a technology, we have this committee that is really helping us to, first of all, does it make sense to put it on board? And second, ensure that when we put it in the hands of the end users, it is really compliance with all the Accenture requirements that we have about security, governance, and everything else.
I love the diversity that you have with the platform architects, the enterprise architects, security experts. So you really get a 360 view of, okay, is this new concept actually something that's useful, or is it hype? Those are great pieces of advice. And I hope people are going to reach out to you, because you obviously have amazing success here. And this short interview doesn't do justice to it. So I want to invite everyone to, of course, reach out to Louis. And of course, if you want to know stories just like this one, make sure you click on the link down below for more amazing data journeys. Thanks for the time, Louis, today.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'm Bruno Aziza.